Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. This is your host, Erin Bradley. And if it's your first time here, welcome aboard. If you've been around for a while, I'm so excited to be with you again today, releasing this on August 28th. And you guys, I've had the best week. For all the other parents out there, our kids went back to school on Monday. And I swear I've been talking about August 24th for like a month and a half because for over a decade now, and this is something we're going to cover in today's call, but I have been treating September 1st as New Year's Day. So it was around 2015 that I realized that after, gosh, 9 years in the mortgage business at that point, I would get to September and I would feel exhausted because I was such a go, 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 kind of like always on, always pressuring myself to be driving my business and figuring out where my next deals are coming from and focusing on marketing that summertime was just a lot. And I think it's a lot regardless of whether you're a workaholic or not. And that's what I was at the time. But I remember getting to the fall and being like, I just need to face plant. So in 2015, I decided, you know what? I want to experiment with something different. And actually, it might have been 2014. It was 2014. And I decided that come September, I'm going to treat it as go time and I'm going to put my foot on the gas and I'm going to leverage seasonal and holiday things like back to school and Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and Valentine's Day and St. Patty's Day and April flowers and Mother's Day and Father's Day. And I was going to have a very specific marketing strategy that was going to run from basically September, like Labor Day to Memorial Day. And then come summertime, I was going to take my foot off the gas. And that doesn't mean I was going to not handle any business or go off the grid. It just meant that I was going to stop putting so much pressure on myself in the summertime because I assumed that if I was really consistent from Labor Day to Memorial Day and I was present and focused and engaged with my business and bringing value to my people, then there would be a pipeline in the summertime. Whereas normally we start in January, we have no pipeline, at least for me. And we start putting our foot on the gas. And by March, things are picking up. And by April, we're super busy. And by May, we're starting to burn out. And now summer's coming. And I remember having conversations with other real estate professionals, real estate agents, lenders, especially moms who in May, they'd be like, I'm freaking out. Like, I'm starting to have so much anxiety. The kids are going to be done with school and I'm going to have to juggle all the things and it's going to be so overwhelming. And I was like, wow, this is really a pattern. And it's funny because a lot of people will say, well, yeah, but the summer is the busy season. And I have a story that I've shared on this podcast before, but if you're relatively new here, you haven't heard it, where a friend of mine went 100% commission as a real estate agent. Oh gosh, her boys must be late teenagers, probably in college by now, but it was a long time ago, and some of you listening actually know her probably. But anyway, she had become a single mom with a 2 year old and a 2 week old and had moved into her mom's basement. She got a real estate license. She went to a seminar. She went all in, and it was sometime in the fall. And within 90 days, she had 8 closings, which is a lot in the real estate space. And it was the winter time. And she made a commitment to herself and to her boys at that time that she was not going to work summers. And when I say that, when I'm on a stage or something, the whole room cringes. Like you can feel the energy of just like, yeah, right. Like, here's why I can't do that. And if you know me, you know that I always say, if you say I can't because all you're doing is defending fear, because whatever comes after because is fear, right? So you can make up any story around why you can't do something or you have to do something. And whatever follows is really just a story that's deeply embedded in you, that's born out of fear, and it's become an excuse because you're not willing to explore what if it could be possible. So anyway, this goes on. I was in a mastermind with this woman for a couple years back in, gosh, 2013 to 2015. And I remember being like, what do you mean you don't work summers? She's like, I put my foot on the gas and around when the kids go back to school, late August. And then I actually have a lot of business in the winter. And then I just stop promoting and networking and stuff in the summertime. And my pipeline kind of naturally slows down. And any business that comes my way, I just refer it out to friends of mine. And it was just black and white, like no angst, no guilt, no apology. She was absolutely clear on what her values were, and her actions reflected her priorities. And she didn't have any scarcity around that or worry that other agents are going to take her business because they were friends of hers, right? So anyway, I bump into her in 2019 and I had been, telling people about this for years. And I said to her, okay, tell me the truth. Do you really wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and you work until 10 o'clock and then your boys wake up and you take them to the pool or you take them to baseball practice? And she's laughing. She's like, no, I sleep until 10 and then we go to the pool and then we go to baseball practice. So legitimately, she just made a decision. Okay. And this is going somewhere. It's just a decision. The only difference between us and somebody else living a life that we want is they made a decision that was in alignment with their values and their priorities. And then they never looked back. And everything that ensued was built off of a simple decision, a decision that could have been made with a little bit of fear and sometimes a lot of fear, but ultimately that's all it is. And by the way, the whole point of being self-employed is that you get to make decisions. It's why you wanted to be your own boss, so you could be in charge. But the majority of real estate professionals I meet along my journey, and myself included back in the day, I was terrified of making decisions that went against that fear of this is why that won't work for me. And here's why I have to answer the phone at 9 o'clock. And here's why I have to work weekends and all these things that I have to do. And I always say, says who? Because once I started to experiment with these arbitrary rules that were passed down by somebody, I don't know who, but it's pretty pervasive in the industry. I started experimenting with it, and it turns out life started to get a lot easier and a lot better. And I found myself having more time. And with more time, I had more energy and I was more present with people I care about. And the business just continued to blossom and bloom, right? So, why am I sharing that? Because I started by saying I've been so excited this week. And if you can see my face, you'll see I have huge bags under my eyes. And it's not because I'm like, I don't know. It's not because I have too much going on or I'm too tired or too stressed. It's because I'm waking up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning without an alarm. And I'm genuinely just excited because during the summertime, I'm very intentional about not overdoing it. Like I cleared my calendar of podcast interviews. I said no to just random new introduction networking meetings. And I just let people know, listen, I am really intentional about protecting my time in the summer because I want those present moments and I want the experiences and the adventures. And living in a ski town in Colorado, summer is very, very short and very precious. And there's nothing worse than being tethered to your computer and Zoom while you look out the window at a beautiful blue sky sunny day and wish you were outside. So I postpone a lot. And so come August 24th, which I had been saying, let's reconvene after August 24th. What do you think happened? I got sick. I got sick on Saturday. On Sunday, I felt terrible. On Monday, I was like, I'm just going to power through, right? That's what I would have done in the past because I actually had a day with no appointments because I was planning for this day to be like, oh my gosh, I'm completely alone. I'm going to like work on my business plan. I'm going to revamp everything. I'm going to really just get my hands in the clay. And I tried to go for a walk that morning and I was like, no, I can't. Like I'm sick. And so I had to give myself permission to rest, which is something I also never would have done in the past. And it was annoying because I was really excited for this day. But once I started feeling better, then obviously all the juices started flowing. And then I started waking up super early, just really excited for all the things I want to share with you guys today and moving forward. So if you are a parent out there and you've got young kids and they went back to school already, or maybe they're going to go back to school, I want to invite you to consider the possibility that after this year, this could be something you adopt in your own business. Because the whole point, again, of being self-employed is that you get to make decisions. Now, coming back to that very first time that I played this game, okay, I put my foot on the gas in September. What I mean by that is I just simply started re-engaging with my database, started making calls. I had really fun mailers and pop buys. We had really fun client appreciation events in Q4. And so it was just about kind of like showing up and re-engaging. And the craziest thing happened. Within 4 months, we went from having only two closings in August to having 12 closings in December of 2014. I'll never forget it because I was like, wait a minute. 12 closings in 1 month was the most I'd ever had in 1 month at that time. And it completely debunked a myth, which was a deeply rooted belief that there's no business in the winter. And even crazier, I had 8 closings in January of 2015, and we more than doubled the business in 2015. We went from 18 million in volume to 38 million in volume. And I share that only because it was the very beginning of starting to tinker with the possibility that I can start to make decisions that feel more aligned with the season of life that I'm in. And then the results revealed themselves, right? They didn't reveal themselves. I mean, prior to that, I had never broken that 18 million barrier. And I had been in the business for 8 years at that point. Excuse me. So to see how protecting my energy, prioritizing my relationships that I wanted to experience present moments with, resisting that workaholic default mode that had been programmed into me for nearly a decade prior. And then to see the unfolding that followed, it was like, wow, this is a curious thing. So it started that process of curiosity. And I always tell people in my mastermind community that we don't have to do a 180 from like, I can, I have to, I need to, I should, and I'm overwhelmed and I'm stressed out and anxious to all of a sudden everything's just peaceful and ease. The way to move gradually and gently towards this shift is through curiosity. Like, I wonder if I could try that. I wonder if September 1st could become my New Year's Day and I can start to really design a business plan that is something that is a true formula, a recipe for success. It's personalized, it's customized to me, what I'm interested in, life experiences that I've navigated that have either been incredible or stressful, the kind of people that I genuinely enjoy and I want to bring value to, a schedule that feels productive but not exhausting, and I stick to it, a framework that feels really easy to operate within, and I get to make exceptions to my rules when I choose to, right? So these are the kinds of things that we start to unpack inside my mastermind and inside my live events. And I want to tell you about a couple ways that you can get in the room with me, both in person and virtually, before the end of 2026. Because what I would love is for you to have this sense of calm confidence within your business and this unapologetic energy around, yeah, I've been doing it this way for a long time, but I'm not even sure why. And I definitely don't like it. So I think I'm going to try something different. And I'm not sure how that's going to go. But I wonder if I could do it a little bit differently and just kind of baby step into a new way of being in your business. Because when you start to embody the future identity that is unapologetic and has the audacity to make decisions in spite of fear, and then emanates an energy of presence and calm confidence, it's wild what you start to attract. It's amazing. And when I say attract, I mean that sincerely because when you get really honest with yourself, most of your business shows up out of the blue. Like the referral comes out of the blue, the email pops up out of the blue, the DM, the text, the phone call. It's not what you scripted, right? The only thing that we script is how we manage our energy, we prioritize it, and how we share our energy with the world and how we are selective with who our world is. Like, who is the community that I want to serve? What are they interested in? What are they stressed out about? What are they worried about? Okay. What are they working on? And am I the person that's equipped to be a resource to them? And if I'm not, am I developing those strategic partnerships and relationships with other business owners that can be in my back pocket to be a resource to my clients so that at least I can be the connection point to their next resource for the stage of life they're in or whatever they're navigating or whatever they're interested in, et cetera. And when you start to do this, you start to show up and you feel like, wow, this is actually fun for me. Like this feels pretty good. I don't feel like I'm mustering up the courage or muscling through the activity because the sales trainer told me I have to do this to get leads, to get deals, to get money so I can feel safe. Like that's a grind. And I don't purport to say that you don't have to push yourself out of your comfort zone to get launched. But most of the people in my community have been in this industry for a couple years and in most cases, a couple of decades. And so they've been doing it a certain way because it's what they believed was necessary, but it's been draining them and it's been boring them and burning them out. And as they start to dismantle that and start to get creative and start to design something that feels more authentic to who they are, they become unleashed in wanting to be engaged with the people. And as you do that, you become visible. And it's like a lighthouse in the storm, right? So the ships come to port when the lights are on. And this is what we do inside my community. We turn the lights on from within. It's way more powerful than you can ever comprehend if this sounds foreign to you. if it's something, if you've been in my community a long time, you know this is the magic. I mean, this is the work, and it's not magic. It's actually science, but it's powerful. And why would we not want to be curious about what it would look like for me to say, you know what? I wonder if I could take a month off every year. I'm self-employed for a reason. Nobody else is making the rules for me. So what if I write some new rules and then let's figure out how to make that happen, right? So the strategy follows the audacity to daydream a new way of being in this business. So let's talk about a couple things. Number one, because fall is the harvest season, right? It is the time to reap the rewards of everything you've done up until now. And for many people, because they coast into the holiday season exhausted and burned out a little bit, they turn the light off. They don't even realize the light has been extinguished. And all of a sudden, the business starts to follow, which means the business starts to diminish, the pipeline dries up, and then we're either thinking to ourselves, man, it was a great year. You know what? I'm exhausted. I actually already hit my goals for the year, or I exceeded my goals, or we're sort of disappointed and we're feeling like there's no chance of us hitting our goals at this point. So I'll just wait till January. And then we all know what that panic feels like in January. It's so funny because I have this conversation with people all the time where, like, maybe you had your best year ever, and then January 1st rolls around and it's like this heavy weight of, can I do it again? Especially if it was exhausting, especially if it cost you your sanity, your present moments. You're like, do I really want to do it again? Right? And do I want to do it again? Can I do it again? And then sometimes I remember at one point having, no business in the pipeline for January and crickets, right? And I had to, it's like starting all over again from scratch. And I was panicking. And my husband's like, you do this every year. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't think you're going out of business. But it doesn't change how painful it can feel, right? It can feel really stressful and overwhelming. So I really want to avoid that. I'd rather see you coast through the summer, handle the deals that come your way, have a blast, take a vacation and not be tethered to your phone, maybe for the first time in your career, and then get so fired up about the harvest season that you get excited to start to re-engage and implement. And there's so many fun things to do to leverage ways to connect with your community through all of the holidays and seasonal things that I mentioned earlier. There's just so many ways to get creative and leverage all of that. Okay, so with that being said, I created an opportunity to get together in the room virtually for 8 days. And it's basically my autumn reset. And it's an opportunity for you to carve out 1 hour a day for just 8 days. Okay. It's going to be a Monday through Friday and then a Monday through Wednesday. And I'm going to have a couple of guest coaches with me who are also coaches inside my mastermind community, the Collective. If you haven't heard of the Collective and you hear this before August 31st, which is Monday, there has been an end of summer special to try out the Collective for just $111 with a coupon code LOVE. So the link is in the show notes. It's in my Instagram bio. It's pursuingfreedom.com/collective. But we meet every single week. We have a couple guest coaches that are all professionals that talk on money mindset and rewiring your old money stories and systems and tech and AI strategies and workflows and automations and energy management and learning how to attract the right fit clients. I mean, it's the whole gamut. And it's a really cool community of agents and lenders from all over the country that are supporting one another in really rewiring the programming within so that they can start to lighten up, have a little fun. And then we see the business start to really grow exponentially, almost in an explosive way. And then we start to really get serious about implementing the support behind the scenes that can allow you to not be afraid of that kind of growth so that it can grow with more ease and with more ROI of your time and energy. So if you hear this in time, I mean, it's already less than a fraction of one closing commission for a 12-month membership. So it's kind of a no-brainer because there's not a single person who's come into that community that hasn't seen at least one more closing as a result of the investment. So it's an investment in you. It's an investment in you at the point that you're kind of like, I'm so fed up and I'm done with the exhaustion, the burnout, the loneliness, et cetera. And it's also a realization when you get in that room that you're not alone. You're not crazy when you start thinking, maybe I should just quit. I jokingly say a lot of people find me at the moment they're thinking, do I really want to do this anymore? And then we just fine tune a couple things at the foundational level. They start having fun again and they're like, "Oh, there's actually a way to love my business and have it fuel my life." Anyway, it's really really fun, and if you get this, just again, before August 31st, it's only $111 to try it on for 30 days. But regardless, if you miss that special offer, shoot me a DM actually. If you hear this and you want to get in for that price, shoot me a DM on Instagram at Pursuing Freedom Official. I'll honor it. Okay. I'm just throwing that out there because it's worth it. Okay. Even if you only get 30 days, there's just a ton of value there. So, with all that being said, I wanted to create an autumn reset, and the members of my collective community will hopefully be in this autumn reset as well. And it's going to be called Enough Already. And it's going to start on Monday, September 21st. It's going to run through Wednesday, the 30th of September. So it's going to give you all of the tools and the actual hands-on implementation where you spend 1 hour a day on the different pillars in the business that will get you to a place of clarity, belief that it can be easier and can be enjoyable and that you can work less and all the things, and conviction around that, as well as the newfound confidence and then the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm is key because if you're not feeling enthusiastic about your business, you're dragging yourself into action. It falls flat. People can feel it, and you don't even like it that way anyway. It's not fun. So let's lighten up a little bit. Let's regain the spark. And I'm going to give you essentially the match so that you control access to ignite the flame within you on a daily basis so that you can continue to do this on a regular basis as you move through the fourth quarter and into the new year with incredible momentum and much more ease and peace in your life than ever before. And it's going to be 8 days. It's $88 if you get in before we open enrollment on September 10th. So there is a waiting room right now where you can get that early bird pricing at pursuingfreedom.com/enough. Now, here's the fun thing. You guys, if you know me well, you know I love alliteration. Like Mondays are for me, Mondays are for mindset, Fridays are for fun, family, and friends, and finishing up, etc. So I love a play on words. And enough already has two meanings. One, enough is enough. If there's any aspect of your business that feels like a drag, and you know it deep down inside, and you feel maybe ashamed to even complain because maybe you feel lucky because your business is busy, but it's creating burnout, or maybe you're just sick and tired of the roller coaster that feeds the fear that this business is inconsistent. And if you've heard my former podcast, you know how I feel about that. The business is not in charge of you. You're not a victim to the business. The business is inconsistent because we are inconsistent. So when we address those blind spots and those gaps in consistency, we start to experience consistency in the results. And sometimes that means better systems and better support, which we work on inside the collective. Okay. So we start on September 21st. Enrollment opens on September 10th. The price is going to go up to $108. It's not expensive, but if I make it free, you're not going to show up. And what I know to be true from the experience with people I work with one-on-one in my mastermind, at my retreats, is that transformation is always available. And it's not my job to transform you. It's your job to transform yourself. And it comes at the moment you say enough is enough. It's like a tipping point. If you've ever heard me on stage, you've heard me talk about the breakup, right? If you've ever broken up with a romantic partner, if you've ever quit a job, chances are you were tolerating something that wasn't quite right for a while before you had the guts to have the hard conversation, because we avoid conflict, we avoid change. Change is not comfortable for our brain. Our brain wants to stay safe, and safe means same. So we avoid the change. We fear investing in ourselves because our brain says, you haven't earned the right to spend that kind of money. You're not worthy of this. Like the brain is so loud. And it's only when you get in the room and you get access to the tools that help you quiet the mind that you can give your heart, your intuition, the space it needs to be heard, because it knows, you know, deep down inside when you're meant for more. And it's the same if it's ever been a romantic relationship or it's been a job, okay? And now you own this business. You are supposed to be running a business that you love. So if you are complaining, even if it's in secret, even if it's a dirty little secret, which I can relate to, if you are frustrated, if you feel resentful sometime of the demands of the business, it's not the external world's job to fix that. It's your job to say, enough already. I am going to get curious about the possibility that this level of suffering is unnecessary and I'm done. And you jump in, and each day we will be unpacking a topic. We'll be starting with nervous system regulation, which is really, really important to your ability to create clarity and have clear decisions that are going to move the needle. We're going to move into who is your who. Like, the 25% rule is the greatest piece of advice I ever got. Well, I've gotten a lot of good advice, but that's one of the good ones, okay? That's stuck with me for over a decade now. And it's that 25% of people will love you no matter what. If you're still listening, I hope you're my 25%. Okay? 25% of people will love you no matter what, and you know who they are, and you probably love them too. 25% never will, no matter what, and you probably know who they are too. Those clients where in the first moment you've met them, or maybe you're a lender and it's that realtor that you always wanted to work with, and then you kind of feel that, I'm not so sure. Your instincts know when it's not the right person. And sometimes we power through and ignore the intuition. And then we end up with a challenging client that sucks the life out of us and closes us to the opportunity to be available to the clients that are the right fit, our 25%. So we know who our 25% are that love us no matter what. We know the ones that don't, no matter what. And then we have our 50% in between, which is like fair weather friends, or they just haven't met you yet, right? So we're going to work through this and what it means for your business. That means 3 out of 4 people are not the right fit. It means if it doesn't feel like a hell yes, it's a pass. Like, there's an infinite number of people and opportunities and opening doors that are all around us, but most of us get stuck trying to kick down the one that feels jammed when we could just walk through the open door. So we're going to cut the fat. We're going to start to whittle it down and trim. I always talk about the garden analogy, right? Like, the garden, every spring, it has weeds in it. It has stuff that pops up because it's always been there, and it has stuff that you plant that you think is pretty. We're going to uproot the garden, and we're going to plant the relationships that feel like a hell yes. And it's going to get you excited to engage again. Okay. Then we're going to move into some scheduling, time management, boundaries, and having a framework for your week that is so dialed in and so rinse and repeat that it just makes it easy to know when you can be available for others and when you need to protect that time and energy to move the needle in ways that require your full attention and energy. We'll also talk about systematizing, automations, and things that can help to create that consistency in your business where you're inconsistent. And then we'll move into when it's time to enlist the help and how you can do that in a way that feels safe and affordable for your budget so you can kind of baby step into it. I always joke that when I say the word team, it can trigger people because some solo agents and lenders, when they hear the word team, they instantly think of a team that they really don't like. They think, I don't want that. I'm like, well, you don't need to have that. Like, team can mean a part-time assistant. It can mean a project-based person who helps you with one client appreciation event you want to put on, or helps you with a mailer, or helps you with pop buys. Like, it doesn't have to be a full-time assistant and some huge line item on your P&L or your expenses. Okay. So we're going to work through that fear around enlisting that help and really rewire the program to get excited about what your business could look like if it wasn't all bottlenecked by you. If it wasn't all on you, how much more consistency would exist, and what would that do for your business? What would it do for your nervous system, for your bank account, and for your well-being? Okay. So we're going to work through all these. It's going to be amazing. And during a very short 1 hour, which was really hard to decide when to do it, what time of day, because of all the time zones. But I didn't want it to be so early in the morning that you feel hijacked from your ability to be alone and work on your morning routine. So I'm going to do 11 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central, 1 Eastern. So it kind of will be late morning for the West Coast, and then kind of a lunch hour for the Midwest and the East Coast. And of course, they'll be recorded and we'll own them. And then we're also going to put them in private podcast feed, which is an idea that I stole from a mentor of mine and I love, because I love listening to a podcast while I'm out on a walk. So this is going to require some workshopping though, and we're going to do a lot of that during the call. But if you miss it, you can always do it at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. So don't hesitate to come if you don't think you can make everything live. I mean, personally, I always feel like live is always more impactful because then you have the opportunity to put questions in the chat and we can really work on customizing it and personalizing it. So anyway, enough already. The second meaning is that you're already enough. This is a big one. Sometimes people hear these things and think, well, I'm not there yet. When I can afford it, when I get there. And it's like, you know what? I really wish this room existed when I was in the early years of my career. Instead of spending 8 or 9 years adopting false beliefs from other people's fear that's passed down in the industry through trainings and mentors who tell me what they think I need to do to be successful. Because I've lived about a decade through both, looking through both lenses. One is I'm treading water, I'm drowning, I'm trying to hold up a sinking ship that has holes in the bottom of it, and people are falling overboard, and I'm just dragging, I'm not at the bow of the ship, and the business is killing me. And I can't go very far like that. I can just survive. The other version is one where I get in the room with people that are making bold decisions and I borrow their confidence. I'm like, wait a minute, she's doing that? And I say she because frankly, this is more problematic in my experience with the women that I know who wear so many other hats in their lives. So it's not just the business. And that's really important. We're not just going to go all into business strategy. We're really going to focus on what season of life are you in? Are you single? Are you an animal lover? Do you have babies? Do you have teenagers? Are you an empty nester? Are you a grandma? Do you have aging parents? Are you a real estate investor? There's aspects of you that make you unique. And guess what your brand is? Your brand is you. It's your heart. It's not your systems or your strategy, but those systems and strategy free you up to be more of who you already are because without them, you're constantly reinventing the wheel. And let me tell you something. When you wake up in the morning and you have no plan and you have no schedule and you feel like you're just tethered to the needs of everyone that's coming at you and you just bounce all day, every day, and you know your battery is at like 5%, that daily decision making is energy draining. And when you're already drained, it's like giving from an empty well. And it's something that women have mastered is just giving in the service of others to the point of depletion. But the truth of the matter is, everything in your life improves when you feel better. And we're going to work on that. So it is an inside out approach. And it is really powerful to be in the room. So that's a really easy, really soon opportunity to connect with women just like you, to realize you're not alone at all, and that everything that feels hard is pretty universal and it's also not necessary. Okay. And then right after that, just a few weeks later, I'm going to be live in person in Scottsdale from October 21st to the 24th at the Soulful Summit. And this is a small 50-person women's retreat that's being put on by Women's Mortgage Network. I'm so excited for the opportunity to facilitate this retreat. So I'm going to be there the entire time and I'm going to be leading everyone through a little more in depth around some business planning for 2026. But you're going to be coming with this shifted identity, this shifted energy, and hopefully a bit of momentum. Like you're already going to have seen the evidence that comes from being in the room with enough already and with all these other women doing the same work, that by the time you get in the room in Scottsdale in October, you're going to start to realize that you can't unknow what you've been experiencing, that there is a better way. And then we're going to have the opportunity to do all kinds of somatic practices that you can learn to use at home to really work on that nervous system regulation. Because you know what? This business fries the nervous system. There's not a single person in this industry that I've met that can't agree to that. That so often we feel hijacked and spread thin, and our attention is scattered, and our energy is depleted, and it's a lot. But it can also be amazing because most of us, by the time we get to an experience of overwhelm and burnout, it's because the business has become successful and it's changed our lives in a positive way. And that can create the fear that I can't let go because if it all falls apart, I'm going to lose it all. But the truth is, there's a next level that awaits you. Okay. And if you can't make October 21st to the 24th, shoot me a DM on Instagram because there's two other opportunities to get in the room with me in October in Nashville and Scottsdale in December. So if the dates don't work, connect with me on Instagram. It's me in the DMs. I love hearing from people. And if you're listening and we've ever talked, you know the truth that if I get a DM from somebody, we're getting on a call, we're having a conversation, I'm walking in the woods, we're going to swap stories, we're going to brainstorm. I love collaborating and I just love turning the creative juices on because you know what? The new ideas are always born out of conversations. When you feel stuck, there's nothing worse than staying alone because staying alone keeps you stuck. Someone asked me one time, how do you get unstuck when you're feeling low? I said I instantly call someone in my life who's an energizer just to shoot the shit. I don't have an agenda. I'm not doing lead generating. I just know I'm feeling low. I get in the room with people that are inspiring, that are growth minded, that are intelligent and fun and interesting and kind and supportive. And that is enough to start to feel the light come back on within me. And then if I can bring value to them, the light comes on further, right? So that's the way we approach our business is from the energy of contribution because the bigger your impact, the bigger your income. And it's a totally different mindset than the hustle culture and the striving and chasing. So wow, these live events in person are literally life-changing. I've seen complete unlocks, so much clarity, so much new confidence, breakthroughs, and within 6 months, massive transformations happening in people's lives and businesses. So if that speaks to you, both of these options are crazy affordable. I mean, there's really no reason not to. And if you don't bet on you, who's going to make the change for you? So again, this is not an investment in me. It's not an investment in the retreat. It's a knowing deep down inside that you're meant for more. You're kind of fed up. You're ready to say enough already. And somehow, some way, you're going to take back the wheel of your life and business. Because the moment you decide to do that, that decision changes the timeline of your life. Just like when you broke up with that partner, just like when you quit that job, your life would never be the same if you were still in that situation, right? So the audacity to bet on you, break up with that person, quit the job, invest in yourself to get in the room is the moment the portal opens and the next level you starts to show up. And that version of you, she's a vibe and she's a magnet. And all of a sudden things get really interesting. So why not, right? Why not? There's no way that you won't experience the financial ROI. So that's not really the excuse, right? So if there's something holding you back and you want to have a conversation about it, let's talk because I get it. And I'll tell you what, I was a solopreneur and I operated on a silo for 7 years before I found my first mastermind. And I realized, oh my God, I thought I was the only one. And through that mastermind was the beginning of massive transformation. That was back in 2013. And everything that's unfolded since has been extraordinary, which is why I'm obsessed with being here. I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with knowing you, hanging out with you, and watching you transform your own life because there's no reason to wait and there's no reason to suffer or settle for mediocrity when the possibilities are infinite. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. If you're still listening, thank you for being here. And you know what? I always ask you guys, if you're willing, please leave a 5-star review wherever you're consuming this because the reviews really create that credibility that helps us continue to attract awesome guests that say yes to being here and sharing their wisdom. And if you know someone that needs this message, please text it to them, DM it to them. I don't know. Technology, do the thing, get the word out there because this is the conversation that people are really having behind closed doors. And it's the conversation that's honest and people really want the truth and people are craving it. So we know deep down inside, we're kind of fed up. We're ready for change. And I think there's a movement happening because I'm seeing it all day, every day. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. I love you guys and I'll see you next time.